Coming up, the Celtics and the Warriors pick up where they left off last year to start the new season. This is Locked On Game to Game NBA.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game NBA, local experts going through the biggest stories on the hardwood. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you so much for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On NBA on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts from. Got our NBA host here to recap the opener of the 2022 season for the NBA. And there were a lot of questions heading into this one about the Boston Celtics after the suspension of their head coach, but no worries on the court, at least right now for the C's. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown took care of business last night. Locked On Celtics goes over the first win of the year.
John Corrales here at the TD Garden after the Boston Celtics opening night win over the Philadelphia 76ers. And the big story here is 70 combined points from the Jays, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. 35 points apiece, out-dueling James Harden and Joel Embiid. Celtics turned defense into offense in this one, getting out into transition, getting 24 fast break points, and scoring 6 more points in the paint than Joel Embiid and James Harden and the Sixers. You'd think when you're playing Joel Embiid, points in the paint would go to the Sixers, but no, it went to the Celtics in this one. They defended well enough. Tough to stop Philly in the half court, but the third quarter, Jayson Tatum went full MVP mode. Jaylen Brown closed things out in the fourth quarter. This is the Celtics team that the Celtics are going to need, and the effort they're going to need to get through this time without Robert Williams. I'll be talking about it more on the Locked On Celtics podcast. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube.
On the other side of things, the 76ers are healthy to start the season, but some similar issues are arising already for Philly. Defense and turnovers were a problem last night. A couple of things that Locked On Sixers is hoping to improve upon for Game 2.
The Philadelphia 76ers fall to the Boston Celtics on opening night, and much of the same for the Sixers in the loss. Turnovers, a big problem in this particular game. I'm Devon Givens from Locked On 76ers. In the game, opener 126-117, the final score in Boston. Joel Embiid, 6 turnovers of the team's 14, but unforced errors. Issues leading to fast break opportunities, a 24-2 disadvantage in that category. Boston getting 22 points off of the 14 miscues, and the Philadelphia 76ers unable to recover after that. Embiid, a good point total, but not recognizing the double team like he should as a seasoned vet. James Harden, on a positive note, 35 points, looked very good, had a good burst. His shot was falling. Hopefully that continues for the Sixers next up against the Milwaukee Bucks on Thursday back here in Philadelphia. We'll discuss it all. That's Keith Pompey, Devon Givens, right there on the Locked On 76ers podcast, Monday through Friday. Hope you join us.
The Warriors were able to raise their most recent banner and still show they got it last night on ring night in the Bay. Locked On Warriors details game number 1 of the title defense for the Dubs.
It was ring night for the defending world champion Golden State Warriors, and the team avoided any letdowns. Steph Curry leading the way with 33 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds as the Warriors defeated the LA Lakers 123-109. A beautiful Jordan Poole assist to Draymond Green was an on-court sign that if there was any lingering animosity between the players, it wasn't showing on the court. Klay Thompson still building up his conditioning in limited minutes tonight, put up 18 points in only 20 minutes. The only downer of the night, Quinndary Weatherspoon collecting his ring in street clothes. He was waived a week ago. JaMychal Green played a solid game in his Warriors debut. He played tough D on Anthony Davis and LeBron. He's put up 8 points, 7 rebounds, the same numbers as James Wiseman, who also had a great night. This was a successful opening night, folks, for the defending world champion Golden State Warriors. You can follow me, Cyrus Sotz, host of Locked On Warriors, on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow.
Lakers fans who might have been concerned entering the season are probably even more worried after their first game of the year. LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook looking for pretty much any kind of help they could get. And Locked On Lakers goes over what could be another long season.
This is Andy Kamenetsky, co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast, and the Lakers lose their season opener 123-109 to the Warriors on their ring night and a lot of concerns that fans and people who cover this team had about the Lakers surfaced during this night that frankly wasn't as close as the score would indicate. They shot 25% from three. LeBron James, Kendrick Nunn, the only Lakers to make more than one from outside. 22 turnovers that Golden State converted into 27 points, and 27 was the amount of points that any Laker who played real minutes, not named LeBron, Anthony, or Russell, collectively scored during this game. There was, I think, some good defensive efforts at times. They were sometimes disruptive. LeBron shook off a pretty difficult first quarter, but there is a lot to work through before Thursday's season opener against the Clippers, to put it mildly. A lot more to break down, so make sure that you are making Locked On Lakers your first listen wherever you get your podcasts, and that you are subscribing to the Locked On Lakers YouTube channel.
That's going to do it today for Locked On Game to Game NBA. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you go and subscribe to Locked On NBA and your team's specific Locked On podcast on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts from. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.